Hi, everyone. Welcome to Shhhcrets. Before we get into it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you like raw, unfiltered opinions and the kind of truth that makes folks squirm a little. After conservative podcaster Charlie Kirk was pew-pewed, Candace Owens wasted no time jumping on camera, tears flowing, acting like she had lost her soulmate. She wanted the world to believe she was front row in his inner circle, practically family, but reality checked her fast. His widow didn't see it that way. Candace wasn't asked to speak, and from all accounts, it's doubtful she was even welcome at the memorial at all. Why? Because she isn't important. She just thinks she is. That's the delusion. His widow made it clear. This was her moment of grief, not Candace's performance stage. Candace Owens Farmer, the Republican Party, is just not that into you. You parade around like you're shaping the movement, like you're indispensable, when in truth, they see you as baggage, the trash to be taken out, the guest who's overstayed and sucked up all the air in the room. They can't wait to be rid of you. You are a nuisance. And what you did after Charlie's death was pure grift. Posting old texts, recycling clips, spinning conspiracies to squeeze attention and profit out of a man's murder. That's not friendship. That's exploitation. And since we're talking about delusion, let's address the Farmer household. Candace Owens Farmer, where is your husband? Where is George Farmer? Not to sound archaic, but you are a Republican woman who married a Republican man, and somehow he's the one wearing the skirt in that relationship. I'm all for women's empowerment and agency, but those aren't your ideals. You built your brand mocking feminism, preaching traditional values, and telling women to sit down and make babies. Yet, here you are, wailing over another woman's husband while your own can't even rein you in. There's nothing traditional about the way you live. You rail against women chasing careers, but your entire existence is one long hustle. And let's be honest, a prostitute has more dignity because at least she's upfront about her hustle. You cloak it in fake morals and call it conservatism while performing like a clown online for a buck. Maybe if you had actually finished college, you wouldn't be bending your so-called values, assuming you had any, just to cash a check. And the irony? You married George Farmer, a white husband, yet you're still the workhorse, scrambling for attention like the rent is overdue. That's not power, Candace. That's pathetic. Have some pride, have some dignity, and for God's sake, stop wailing over another woman's husband. He was her man, her loss, her grief, not yours. You're not the widow, you're just the sideshow, and they've already moved on without you. The jokes really write themselves. Candace is that black person desperate to prove she's the special one in white conservative circles. The token who convinces herself she's irreplaceable, when the truth is she was always disposable. Black folks know this archetype well. The ones who throw their people under the bus, run back to whisper in the master's ear, and think proximity makes them superior. But history has receipts. It never works out. They always get shown their place. And Candace's place is exactly where she is now, on the outside, nose pressed against the glass. The way she handled this snub? Pure delusions. When the Daily Mail asked if she was invited to speak or even attend the memorial, she could have just said a simple no. But Candace Owens can't do simple. Instead, she launched into a whole production claiming powerful donors and Zionist forces were plotting to silence her, even dragging Netanyahu's name into it, as if the Prime Minister of Israel was personally worried about her RSVP status. That's not courage. That's pure delusion. And let's call it straight. Candace Owens is a grifter. The first video after Charlie's death said it all. She even dragged out old clips of them rapping Kanye lyrics together, plus private texts where Charlie told her he planned to propose to Erika, his actual wife. And for what? It didn't prove closeness. It reeked of desperation. It was like she was saying, "See, I was more important than his widow." Then she kept going, pumping out more videos, more conspiracies, more theatrics. Charlie wasn't even buried yet, and she was already monetizing his death for clicks. That's not friendship. That's exploitation. That's disgusting. Charlie's widow Erika saw through it. She didn't want Candace anywhere near that stage. And she was right. There were 20 speakers lined up. Candace just wasn't one. Not because she's too real or too brave, but because she's not important. Even Eric Bowling confirmed it. Charlie hadn't really spoken to her in years. He called her brain-rotted. He wanted distance from the mess. Best friend, please. That was Candace talking to herself. So here she is again, fighting to prove she's the chosen one when all we see is a token who's been spent. She thought she'd be sitting next to Donald Trump and Tucker Carlson at the memorial. Instead, she was cut from the program entirely. Another humiliation, another reminder that she's not the queen of conservative commentary. She's the side character whose storyline got cut seasons ago. But let's be real, her white husband might have bought her extra time in those conservative circles. Marrying him gave her that veneer of acceptability, the safe black who could be paraded around without making anyone uncomfortable. It prolonged her stay, padded her benefits, and kept the grift running longer than it should have. But even he can't shield her from karma. He can't stop the reckoning that's already at her doorstep. This canceling that's coming, it's bigger than him, bigger than her marriage, and bigger than the little protection she thought proximity could buy. Because the truth is, we're in a different era now. Back then, conservatives needed a black face to say the things they couldn't say without backlash. Now, it's Trump time. Anything goes. Racism, xenophobia, extremism, it's all fashionable. Trump and his people don't need a black mouthpiece anymore. They're louder, brasher, and unapologetically extreme all on their own. The role Candace once filled is obsolete. They don't need her as a shield. She's not special. She's not protection. She's not the chosen one. She's just another pawn, discarded the second she outlived her usefulness. Yet, she's clinging to relevance in a game that has moved on without her. And that's why Candace's downfall isn't just personal, it's symbolic. Because she's not alone. Officer Tatum, Myron Gaines, the Hodge twins, all the conservative banshees who screech the loudest take notes. You can only sell your people out for so long before the lap you're climbing into tosses you off. And when that facade collapses, when tokenism finally comes due, I'll be in my seat with popcorn, eyes lit like Michael Jackson, watching the whole wall crumble. The lesson is simple. Never beg for a seat at a table that doesn't want you there. If you have to parade old receipts, hijack a tragedy, or perform grief louder than the widow just to feel included, that's not power. That's desperation. Real influence comes from building your own table. Otherwise, you end up like Candace Owens, scrambling for attention, burning every bridge, and realizing too late that the people you sold your soul for never saw you as central in the first place.